Here's my little rant on my teaching on Christianity. I'm not going to bash Christianity, but I do want to give some information to my people about Christianity. And I want to let you know, give you a message, that the Christianity you're following is not the original Christianity, where the original Christianity that Jesus followed. The Christianity you follow is a Pauline doctrine created by the Nicene Council. There were other Christian groups that were more closer to the Messiah, Jesus, Yeshua. And they were called Nazarenes. And they were also called Ebionites. Look them up. Nazarenes and the Ebionites. And I need to let you know that Jesus' followers, even after he left, did not understand who Jesus was. And they differ on their ideas about him. The Ebionites, the poor ones, believed in the Torah, and they believed in Jesus as the Messiah. They believed in the oneness of God, and they believed Jesus was not God, and he was a man. They also believed that Jesus was a chosen by God, and he was anointed by God when he was baptized by John the Baptist. They believed he was like a Moses. They did not believe he was God. And the Ebionites were the group that was closest to Jesus. The Nazarenes also. Some people say they're the same group, but they also thought differently about Jesus. They thought Jesus was the Son of God, but they didn't believe he was God. They followed the Torah. They also believed in the virgin birth, and they believed, in the laws, and believed he was the Messiah. You have Nazarenes, and you have the Ebionites. And they dwelled in Jerusalem. You had this guy named Paul, who never met Jesus, who formed his own doctrine and taught churches in Europe. And he wrote letters to different churches in Europe, telling them to stay strong and keep the faith, when he knew nothing about Jesus and never walked with Jesus and never talked with Jesus. But Jesus' true followers lived in Jerusalem during that time. James the Just, he was the leader of the Jerusalem church. That's why you see in the book of Revelations a whole nother set of churches. Church of Philadelphia. And these churches are in the Asia Minor. They're not in Greece. They're in Turkey, in that area. They're not in Greece. They're not in Rome. A whole nother set of churches compared to the set of churches that Paul wrote his letters to. Jesus told his disciples, do not go to the lost sheep of the house. Do not go to the Gentiles. Only go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You know what happened to Jesus' followers? They were murdered. Paul used to murder Jesus' followers. He used to hunt them down. Then he received this epiphany that he was supposed to be with Jesus. And he created his own doctrine. And the Nicene Council got together, a group of Romans. They were not Israelites. They didn't know anything about Israel. They were anti-Moses and anti-Old Testament. Created a trinity doctrine and said Jesus was God. Grab my people, and put them in slavery and brainwash them to think that. Now, My people don't even know anything about the Nazarenes or the Ebionites. They don't know that the original Christians, they don't know anything about what the original Christians believed. The true followers of Jesus, who were not called Christians at all. The word Christian came about at a place called Antioch. And that was a nickname for the followers, so-called followers of Paul, really, that dwelt there. They did not really accept that name. It was a nickname given to them. The Ebionites and the Nazarenes were called heretics by the so-called church fathers, who were Romans, who were responsible in the end for destroying the temple. The same people that destroyed the temple and sacrificed a pig on the altar, they were the ones that gave you this new Pauline Christianity. Wow. Okay. Look up the Nicene Council. Look up the Ebionites. Look up the Nazarenes. The Nazarenes actually have a gospel that you can read. James the Just never ever met Paul, and Paul never met James the Just. Paul was afraid to meet James the Just. Go read the book of James, and it reads differently than Paul's letters. Paul talks about faith, 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 faith. You don't need works. You don't need the works of the law. James says faith without works is dead. Alright, read it closely, and you'll see there is a big difference. And there was a struggle between the original followers and the takeover by the Paulites. And they successfully took over the Roman Catholics, the Roman Christianity, which you follow today, and you do not follow the original Messianic Christianity of the Messiah. The Messiah believed in one God without any partners. They were the peacemakers. They were the poor, righteous teachers. They were the Nazarenes. And they were erased from history. But if you go to the book of Revelations, it talks about the martyrs of Jesus Christ. They were martyred. His original disciples were totally wiped out. Okay? That's what happened to them. They refused to leave the Holy Land like the other Israelites. They stayed there and died. They did not run into Africa, and they were never going to run into Africa. But they will return. They have returned. Peace, YouTube.